George Stroumboulopoulos has spent his career talking to Canadians, our artists, our thinkers, our rebels, and our storytellers. Through culture and media and music, he has helped define how we tell our story on a global stage and also how we see ourselves. George is with me today. I wanted to ask him what he thinks makes Canada unique and how that spirit of creativity is shaping what comes next for us. I'm Emily Madden, and this is The M&L Show. George.
Yes, E.
Oh my goodness, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Happy to be here.
I'm really excited to have you here.
It's nice to sit on this side of the chair.
Yes, I was we were just talking about this. You have spent, I don't know about your lifetime, maybe I'll say your career time, talking to Canadians and talking to international stars, writers and artists, and we were having a conversation about poetry. You are bringing other people's story to the world. And right now, I know you just wrapped or are wrapping a project doing something similar about the stories that made us. Right now, what's standing out to you about Canadian character right now?
Is that we're not just one thing.
Yeah.
But we do know what we're not.
Okay.
And I find that interesting.
Is it American?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a significant thing. As we all know, there
Yeah.
are reasons why people have been forced to talk about that.
Yeah.
But we are lots of things. We are not one thing. And I think that makes some people with an old world view of Canada, it makes some of them uncomfortable.
Okay.
The fact that they feel like the country that they grew up in isn't the country anymore. And they look at that as if it's a negative thing. Mm-hmm. But it's a country that's always in transition. It's a country that is tremendously young as this country. If you think about, I don't just mean Canada, 1867, but Upper Canada, Lower Canada,
Yeah.
BNA. If you think about all of that time, it's still relatively young, and it's really young if you go back to the first time we fought under our own flag, which is what, World War II, right? So it's a new country in that respect, and a lot of people are struggling with what it could be, and there are a ton of people who are very excited about what it could be, and I love these kinds of conversations about this country.
Talk to me a little bit about the point about people are feeling scared about what it's turning into, because it so resonates with me when you say, like, we're so young as a country. And I think about this all of the time. And, you know, if you think about on a global stage, you travel and you see, like, wow, these buildings or this currency is older than we are.
Yeah, I've been in pubs in Ireland, much older than Canada as Canada.
Yeah. And so it seems kind of preposterous from that perspective to imagine, like, I don't want it to change. I love kind of the old Canada, but like, what is the old Canada? Like, what does that mean to you when you say that to me?
Well, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay.
Right. I think there's a couple of reasons. As you know, neuroscience, the brain doesn't want change, doesn't like change, so change makes people feel uncomfortable. But honestly, I just think there's an awful lot of money being put into fanning the flames of racism in this country, and a lot of the we don't like change is about racism, and they feel like their version of the country is slipping out of their hands. But I can assure you that every generation has lost something, and the next generation has gained something in their minds, but you haven't really lost anything. It's just adapted or evolved. And so you have an awful lot of that. I mean, look, and governments have been getting closer and closer with business and corporations, and so we do feel like our grasp on democracy is different. And so there's a lot of reasons to be highly critical of any country if you feel like the people's interests aren't being taken care of, protected or supported or promoted. So I can understand the discontent one might feel. But as I heard somebody say, you are angry and looking in the wrong places for the right answers. So there are people we can look at who are causing a lot of this, these feelings in our life, but it's generally not the people we tend to be mad at on the streets, right? So, or most people. So I think there's a lot of reasons why people don't like what's happening. But honestly, in the social media world, which is really only 20 years of social media, if you think about MySpace, Friendster, and what it
It
creates,
actually feels
right?
like 20 years feels too long. Like when you say
Yeah,
20 years,
yeah.
that feels like really already? Like I feel like it's...
People got on Twitter in 2009.
Yeah,
They could
yeah.
in 2010. They could never even have imagined a world where Twitter. Now Twitter, there are tons of people who are still on it, but way more who think it's just a gross cesspool. Right?
Yeah.
Threads is like 10 minutes old, and it's already turned into that.
Yeah.
Right, because of bots and other people and money and all. So social media is just. I think we're in the death stages of its first run.
Of its first run. So
Yeah.
what would like a next run look like in terms of, maybe let me ask the question, maybe not specifically about social media, but Canadians connecting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, or people connecting, but let's keep it in Canada. Like, what do you think that next iteration of connection looks like?
I think it has to go back to how it was.
Okay.
Which is a country of villages and a country of communities. So I feel like we kind of lost the center a little bit, lost the plot a little bit, and have kind of unfurled. And that's, I think, natural for any country that grows. Also, we are so heavily affected by what happens by that other country.
Yeah.
So a lot of this we can't control, but we've had enough governments of two parties federally and several parties provincially who have helped to put us in this position. So I feel like Canada, there's a little bit of a regroup in certain places, and that'll be community oriented. So I do think we have to hold corporations and public servants accountable, but we also have to play a role in it as well, because we know that we're fighting against a behemoth that doesn't want us to win. So we have to find ways to create spaces to win together. And then if there's enough of us in our communities, then we become the wave that crests. And I think that's, what I want. Again, I do think everybody ultimately has personal responsibility and accountability, but it's not their fault that we're in this situation.
Yeah.
But we do have a role to play in making it better, or at least I have to hope that that's possible. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just going to be revolution after revolution. We don't think that, I don't know if that's going to be the right answer, but I also don't know if it's the wrong answer.
Yeah. Well, I was just speaking to one of Canada's top pollsters who told me that something that's coming out of the data is that Canadians want to believe. I have to hope, as you kind of said, right?
In fact, it's something that defines us is that it's an experiment that has worked for many people. It is not an experiment that has worked for everybody. And right now there is a pushback on making it work for everybody. But I feel like that's a burr we can kind of smooth out.
Okay.
I feel like Canada as an experiment that works for everybody is actually a noble goal.
Yeah.
And I think it's achievable, and I don't even think it's that difficult to achieve it. So I believe that Canadians are starting to feel it. When I traveled across the country for this Stories That Made Us project, you get a real sense that people were doubling down on the Canadian thing.
Yeah.
But not just in some weird elbows up way.
Yeah.
But it was actually deeper than that.
Yeah.
The elbows up was just a fun catchphrase. But this was deeper. This was, right, we are different from a lot of people. And
yeah,
it's
like
cool.
the idea that we still believe that this experiment, as you call it, is worth doing. And I love
it is 100% worth fighting for.
Yeah. I love the way that you've described the community kind of based approach. Something I've been thinking about a lot too is like, it's almost like a quilt, it needs to be different. It can still be stitched together and be better than the sum of its parts.
But the key to the quilt is the stitching, right? That's the key to the, like there's all kinds of beautiful pieces of fabric and tapestry all around this country, right?
But what connects it?
Yeah. And what connects it has to be a two-way reality. So it's not just, we all come together and somebody brings us together and go, look, what a great country we can brag about. We have to be worth bragging about.
Yeah.
There's too many people living in poverty. There's too much of an income inequality gap. There are people coming to this country because they need a better life and they want safety, and we should be the people that can help provide that. Who does our government really work for?
Yeah.
What roles, are we losing our storytelling to gigantic U.S. streamers? By the way, U.S. streamers that are often based in other countries around the world, so they don't have to pay taxes, or traditional broadcasters have to meet CanCon requirements, but they don't really. So there's we're in a really cloudy phase.
Yeah.
But we're fighting in the clouds.
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out what kind of country do we really want this to be. And you've traveled, I've been around the world, I've sat on walls built by empires that most people haven't heard of.
Yeah.
So countries go away.
Yes.
Cultures die. Things fade out. They don't if you fight for them. Yeah. Let's just see what we're made of.
Yeah. I want to go back to just where you started a little bit. I don't super want to talk about our neighbors to the south, but I do in one context
Yeah.
a little bit. So you said kind of, I know what we're not, right? And we also talk about just, I mean, they're loud, right? Like we share culture, pop culture, like movies, icons, like we share things that, do we lose our identity? Like, are we, when you say like you're traveling across the country, Canadians are proud of themselves and more than in an elbows out kind of a way.
Yeah.
But do you think that there is, like, just because of the way that we look like Americans by and large, right? We sometimes sound like Americans depending on what part of which country you're kind of looking at. Our music is kind of something that we're sharing across. And so, like, at what point is it like an identity crisis that's actually turning into an existential one? Or
I don't know. I mean, I've never had it. Have you had it? I know people do feel it. If you are definitely conditioned and influenced by what you consume. But I have spent my lifetime in this business anyway, my adult lifetime, God, even when I was still a youngster, fighting for and promoting Canadian stories, because I do think that they matter. But again, I'm first generation Canadian. I'm the first person in my family born in Canada. So I grew up in a neighborhood on the west side of Toronto, neighborhoods where most of my contemporaries were the first people born in Canada.
Yeah.
So my relationship with Canada and my understanding of Canada is very, very, very different from the Canada that I saw on TV and still see on TV today, or in streaming or on social media. So if you grew up ethnic, which I did, we're just not the same as the Canadians that have always been described. So I don't think there has to be one version of that identity. And I actually think that's the strength. See, I think that is the stitching. Mm-hmm. The stitching is the understanding that us being beside each other is enough. Like, that's enough. Yeah. I don't have to be like you and you don't have to be like me, but you get to be like you and I get to be like me. And that, to me, is what makes us really dope. The assimilation concept's not that interesting to me, but the integration concept is, because I eat at the same Vietnamese restaurant almost every day that I'm in Toronto, almost downtown. And
do you want to plug it?
It's called Golden Turtle. I love it.
Okay.
But I remember being there one day, just me, and there was one other gentleman sitting maybe 3 tables over from me, just the two of us. And if you've ever been in a good ethnic restaurant, you'll hear what's happening in the kitchen behind you. Yeah. A lot of loud voices, a lot of yelling, a lot of laughing, a lot of but different languages happening. Yeah. And I was looking at this guy, and he had his eyes closed for a second, and he was leaning back. And then he looked over at me, and he said, I've lived abroad for 10 years. And he said, the thing I miss the most is that. That's the sound of Toronto. Yeah. And I looked at him and I said, that's our city. Yeah. It's the best thing about our city is that it sounds like that. Yeah. Now there's lots of people who don't like that, right? For lots of reasons, but plenty of us do. Yeah. And so I just like the fact that us integrating together without having to become anybody else is just such an interesting concept. Yeah. And I love that about it.
Talk to me about a little bit more about the kind of concept of seeing Canada through global eyes. I really, really like what you're saying there. And I think I would ask you that, like, you do a lot of work internationally, obviously, but, as a first generation Canadian and growing up in the neighborhood that you did and having your friends whose, parents are not from here. And so we kind of consider, like, if you want to build a global, company, you need to hire global citizens, and we talk about global economy and all those things. But I am super curious about, what does Canada look like from a global perspective? Like,
it's really interesting. 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, Canada's brand, whatever that means, was kind of flat. Okay. Now it's not. Now many people around the world are rooting for Canada. And again, it goes back to the US thing. Yeah. But many people are rooting for Canada as an international player. That is a profound difference. I work in a couple of places around the world, and I get messages from people from there. Okay. And how they talk about Canada today is very different than how they talked about it 2 years ago. So I find that compelling, puts us in a really interesting place. If I was running a company that needed global citizens, I'd be hiring people from Canada. Yeah. Because if you hire Canadians, you're hiring people from all over the world. Yeah. We have one of the greatest talent pools in the world for different perspectives. Right, and that's why I think that we are a great country to bet on. But again, we have to make some really important choices. Are we going to leave a lot of people behind? Are we going to be the country that tries to brag about it and have this many people in poverty? Can't do that. Yeah. These many communities that don't have safe drinking water, we can't be that
Yeah.
country. And it actually is in the best interest of everybody politically, regardless of your stripe. Everybody gets better if everybody's better.
Yeah.
And which sounds so bullshitty, but it's not.
Yeah.
You want more people to participate in the economy? Put them in a position to participate in the economy. Or maybe you just want more people to be covered and cared for, then do that too. Regardless of why you want it to be done, everybody benefits.
Yeah.
And so if we become the country that figures out a way to be the thing we brag about for all of us, we will be the envy of the globe again.
It's very powerful what you're saying. It ties together a lot of the conversations I've been having recently and thinking about, like, we talk about, needing to allow every Canadian to have agency, to allow every Canadian to be the best version of themselves that they can be, and through whether that's access to digital infrastructure, broadband, or things like that, which is still a challenge in many rural communities, or whether that is, training, or as you say, like, sorry, I am getting a little bit choked up about the amount of things that we still need to do to help Canadians.
The amount of roads in this country, communities that don't get plowed in the winter, that have no services, the despair in long-term care facilities around this country, which should be near the top of the list of something every provincial government. It's not a federal jurisdiction, that's a provincial thing. We need to fix some really big holes in the pipes here.
Yeah.
But we can, and it's what's funny is that it's all logical.
Yeah.
It's just political will, but really there are people who make a lot of money by making sure that it doesn't get fixed. So we just got to figure out whose side are we on.
So then in that question, I think you talked a little bit about, Canada really does punch above its weight in a number of areas. Yeah. Do you think we still do on the global stage from the global perspective, or have we gone a little bit quiet?
Yeah, I don't know if we do.
Yeah.
Right? I know we can.
Yeah.
I think in terms of storytellers and writers and thinkers and that, I think we're probably second only to the Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish.
There's a lot of Irish here.
The Irish as a country, culturally, I don't think the Irish and the Scottish have given more to the world than people really know in terms of the cultural stuff, right? So, but we're right up there culturally, storyteller-wise. Mm-hmm. I think we're in the top three if you talk about outkicking the coverage, but I don't know what it is like. Are we a natural resources country? For sure. Who's got the licenses and where does that money go? Where does the money go?
Yeah. Is
it go to the Canadian people? Right? So I don't know that anybody looks to us as if we're doing a thing now. But you know what? Where they do look at us is politically, they look at our current political reality and think, this guy's got to figure out what to do with that guy down south. And there's a lot of managing in there. So I think a lot of the world is looking to us to figure out how to play a major role in what the trade reality looks like around the world, because that's been completely blown up, as you know. So there are a lot of people looking to Canada now to figure this out. Like, what does the next version of the international trading community look like? And if we play a significant role there, then we are a meaningful country.
Yeah.
But we're a long, long way removed from Mike Pearson's Blue Helmets and the Peacekeepers, which got him a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a Canadian Prime Minister getting a Nobel Peace Prize? But he did for that.
Yeah. You talk about storytellers and the Irish. Interestingly enough, the Irish was not part of our conversation, but I was actually just in Dublin this past summer, and I visited Trinity, and kind of they have this like incredible hall that's sort of devoted to the great sort of literature and poetry, and like one of the most incredible museums in actually like attractions in Europe there. It's like just phenomenal when you think about that. Bringing it back to Canada and our storytelling capacity, it's really interesting that you bring it up, and I understand why you do from an arts and creative perspective, the idea of the gift of song, of being able to create and shape a story. But we also seem to have, and at least I'm picking this up, tell me that I'm wrong, we seem to have almost like a humility that kind of handicaps us a bit. Like, we're not really great at celebrating our wins, or at least I'm hearing this from leaders who have come on and talked about like major innovations that are happening or things like that.
Yeah.
Like we're not really out there like bragging like this is a great place. You got to be, like we're not in your face about it.
Yeah, I think part of what makes it, I can't speak to some of that business stuff, maybe because a lot of them are type A Instagram entrepreneur bros who get into catchphrase culture, maybe. I'm not talking about the ones you're talking about, but there's a lot of like smoke and mirrors out there when it comes to this. I actually don't think that's I've heard that when it comes to art and culture, but I think part of what makes us amazing is that we don't have to.
We don't have to flex so loudly, so hugely.
Go around the world, maybe Fela Kuti, pick a couple of artists in the history of music.
Yeah.
How would people, Feiruz will feel in the Arab world, this will happen with Feiruz for sure, but think about what happened with Gord Downie and how many people watched that last show and that thing. People, like last night in Ottawa, somebody stopped me to talk to me about Gord and the two of us got emotional.
Yeah.
How many artists around the world, maybe you can count them all on one hand, would bring a country to its emotional knees for a moment? Mm-hmm. Like, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Because we got these people.
Yeah.
We're the country of Joni Mitchell and Neil Young, and we're the country of the band and Willie Thrasher. Like, we're the country of Susan Aglu-Clark. We're the country of Jeremy Dutra. We are Tanya Tagaq. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We're the country of the weekend. Like, we're the city of the weekend.
We're the city of the weekend. I don't know.
We're adjacent.
I think that there's another rapper who also feels he might have a hand on the city.
He changed the game.
Yeah.
Drake changed the game.
Yeah.
We're the country of Celine.
Yes.
And Shania.
Alanis.
And Avril.
Yeah.
We're the country of Sum 41. We're good.
We're good.
We're good, We're the country of Rush.
I met him recently, actually.
Getty?
Yeah, we live in the same neighborhood.
Nice.
So
He's great. He's great. So I don't think, yes, we don't. I think also because a lot of Canadians are so heavily influenced by US media because of the TV channels that come up here. I would encourage you to, not you, but one, go get the biggest bands in Australia, the biggest bands in any other country relative to our size. How many of those bands are enormous in another country?
Yeah.
Not that many.
Yeah.
Not that many. But we have a bunch that are the...
I can't believe you didn't mention like the big one.
Who's the big one?
Justin
Bieber. Yeah, like think how big Bieber, right?
I know how big Bieber is. I have a 12-year-old in my house.
There you go. So Bieber's still big to 12-year-old?
Dude, he was big to me.
Yeah.
And then he was big the whole time I raised her. Now he's big to her. It's ridiculous.
Now go find me a bunch of artists from other countries. How many Swedish artists
ABBA.
It's ABBA and then who else? So we start.
Do you
listing.
need more?
There's a couple, but I'm saying you could pick a couple.
Yeah.
But compared to how many Canadian artists are global superstars, Nelly Furtado, global superstars. Yeah. So I feel like
we're good.
Yeah, we're killing it. we're the country of Margaret Atwood.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Like
she's touring right now. She's released a book.
Yes. Yeah. So I think we're really good. We don't brag about it so much because I don't feel like we need to.
Yeah.
I like promoting it because I want other people to know about cool bands and cool writers and cool filmmakers. But I don't even think you could find another country around the world who has churned out the level of superstars the way we have, who aren't from either the US or the UK.
Yeah. So do you think, in the arts world, and I feel very deeply, I feel you on this level. Do you think culturally or, technologically with kind of advanced changes in how people are thinking about the future, do you think there's something that we're missing as Canadians?
It's funny because you think about RIM and the impact RIM had, right? Where are our big technological innovations? Now, I don't know. There are some people who say the government needs to play a bigger role in encouraging that kind of stuff here, which I would agree, provided that those companies play a role in taking care of Canada.
Yes.
I have zero interest in this country building up corporations so they can move to a different place and then abandon their tax responsibility to the Canadian people. Yeah. But I do think that governments need to play a role to foster good business here for sure and take care of the workers in the meantime. So I think that I've definitely heard that in the technology industry. We need to be better. But in terms of arts and culture,
You're good.
We're good.
You're good.
Like we're so good. Yeah.
Do you want to role play for a minute? Okay.
I mean,
so,
let her rip.
okay, so you're Canada.
Okay.
You're
right.
introducing yourself to the world. You're like at a party.
Right.
You're just like walking into the world. You're wearing something.
Yeah.
Because you're Canada.
Denim on denim on denim.
I love it.
Triple D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself to.
Well, if I was Canada,
Yeah.
my version of Canada
Yes.
is I would go straight to the bar. I would stand in the corner and I wouldn't introduce myself to anybody. But if somebody came up to us, I'd make them feel totally welcome.
I love that.
Come on in.
I love that.
I don't need you to like me,
Wonderful.
but you're welcome to be around me. You know, I don't need to assert who I am if I was this country, and nor would I ever dare to speak for the country.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was playing role playing Canada, I'd be that guy over there, just having a good time where everybody's welcome.
Just chill, yeah.
Yeah.
And letting everybody come to you. I think, you know what, not an answer I was expecting, but for sure a valid one, a very cool one. I appreciate you, George. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.